Honestly, I had déjà vu with this book. If you like this book, for sure you would like this book also. The Measure book is about people who got string. Some of them got short string, some of them long string. It's like means how long you are going to live. In this book, it's some company what is called death cast, and they called you on the day when you're supposed to die. In some way, I think if you combine these two books, it would be everything much more clear and much more full, this world, how its people living there. You can see my review of this book on my channel, and I was rate this book 2 out of the 5 because I was very disappointed of this book. It's more global, but this book it's more focused on the certain people, and I prefer much more this book than that one. But in a certain way I have feeling that it was the same author wrote this book, the same atmosphere, it's like even seems the same people. In this book you can see that main couple is a homosexual couple, and in this book it's the same homosexual couple. So I think in some way it's like even harder to find difference between these books. So if you read this book and you will really enjoy, so read this and you will the same enjoy. When I had some questions to this book, I start to remember what I was reading, The Measure, and it's make my picture of that world much more full than if you would read only this book, for example. Let's more focus for this book because I'm doing actual review of this book, right? It's just like so hard between these two books because when I was read this book, I just like, okay, it was the same I was reading The Measure. It's the same was in The Measure. Even like some dialogue, I just like thinking, okay, so I already was read it in The Measure, and the point that I didn't like Measure. So you can imagine that I wasn't so much enjoyed to read this book also. It's about two boys who is 18-ish years, and they both received a call from the death cast. It's some company that they are going to die during the next 24 hours. And they meet with each other from the app Last Friend, and so it would be continued journey of them and their feelings and their adventure. So overall, I would say that this not so bad book, just like for me was boring because I accept some more deep philosophic. Yes, I like to read about some deep philosophic books, and I was expected that I would have many wisdom quotes from this book, but I was disappointed with this book because it wasn't wisdom quotes how I thought, and another what I was expected from this book that would be many actions, but no, everything is very plain. This book about teens, and last time I had so many literature about teens. I truly thought that it would be two adult men, and probably they had I don't know, like shitty jobs and maybe wives and some children, and it would be like much more deeper, much more emotional, and you would be grieve much more about this. But no, everything very plain. It's about teens. Of course, both of them they have some psychology problems. They already know that life is not easy on their 18th years. For me, it's what I was already read many times, and nothing new ideas, new actions, new twist, like it's nothing you have here. I thought that it would be good sci-fi. There's almost no sci-fi here, right? It's mostly about this death cast who is according to many people and saying that they will die during the next 24 hours, and what you're going to do with this. So let me know how it would be looks your day if suddenly somebody called you and says that it's left only 24 hours to live to you, with who you would meet, and how you see this last day in your life, and do you want to receive this call? Or you're on that side where it's like better don't know where's your last day. So I read this book 3 out of the 5 because again it's not a bad book, it's just not for me. And short, what's going on in this book. So we have 2 main characters, it's Matteo and Rufus. Matteo is 18 years old boy and he has only one close friend, is Lydia, and his father in the coma. His mother died. So he is living in the apartment alone, and generally he is very shy, very weak, very careful person, and most of the time he is spending in his apartment. Next, it's Rufus. He is 17 years old and soon he is supposed to turn 18. He is living in the foster house, and his best friends is Tagoy and Malcolm, and he has girlfriend Amy, and they call themselves Plutos. With Rufus we meet in this book during when he is punched another guy. His nickname is Peg, and Peg is new boyfriend of Amy, ex-girlfriend of Rufus, and Rufus didn't like it, and he is meet Peg and start to beat him. Both Rufus and Matteo, they received a call from the Deathcast, and Deathcast told them that during this day they will die. So Matteo, he is struggling to go out from the apartment, but he really want to say goodbye to the Lydia and also to his father, who is in the coma. And Rufus, he with his gang went back to the foster house and decided to organize his funeral, to see how it would be everything. And during this funeral, Peg, who was sitting there also, he was called to police, and so police show up and Rufus was run from them. And Rufus understands that he is alone and he doesn't want to die alone, so he was signed on the app, it's called Last Friend, and people who is takers, who has last day to live and they need support and they're lonely, they show up in this app and they could find somebody with who they can spend the last day. So Matteo and Rufus both sign on this app, start chat with each other, and Rufus show up in the Matteo apartment, decided to help Matteo, went to his father, and that Matteo say goodbye to his father. So after when they went to the hospital and Matteo had chance to say goodbye to his father, and he had hope that his father would be woke up, but it never happened. Afterwards they meet on the street some homeless person, give him some money. Afterwards they went to the Lydia, and Matteo had some chances to say goodbye to the Lydia, but he was hides that it's his last day, so he just say some nice words and run from her. Afterwards they went to some visual world where usually deckers they came and they do some stuff what they didn't do during their life, like swimming with the sharks or jump with parachutes or something else. Rufus told Matteo more about his life, his friends, and Matteo told Rufus about his life, and they getting more closer to each other. Matteo understood that he wants to say goodbye to his mother, so they went to the cemetery where he can do it, and when they show up in the cemetery, Matteo sees that grave digger, he is digging Matteo's grave. So it wasn't so much fun for Matteo, but anyway, he managed his feelings and say goodbye to his mother. Afterwards, he feel much better, and he suggests that Rufus need to feel better also, so they went to the pier, and with Rufus could just to be himself and is help Rufus also. Meantime, another character, Delilah, she received call from the desk cast, and they told her that it's her last day, but she didn't believe because she was dating this guy who is working in the desk cast, and they broke up. So she thought that it's his prank. She just continue live her life how it was. Rufus had bike. He very liked that bike, and Matteo and Rufus, they had last ride, and Rufus just gave this bike to another random guy. And afterwards they went to the travel arena where they meet with Lydia, because Matteo understands that's not nice how he was acting to the Lydia, and Lydia deserved to know that it's his last day, so he's invite Lydia to this travel arena. Had fun there, and afterwards they decided to continue this beautiful day for them kind of, and they went to the Queen's graveyard. It's nightclub, and in the same time Rufus, he all the time made some pictures and posted it in Instagram where everybody can see where he is located. And Peck, who was beaten by Rufus, he was still angry and he wanted to kill Rufus. So he collect all his gunk, and they went to this nightclub. In nightclub we can see that Rufus and Matteo, they became even more close to each other. They seen some songs on the stage, and it was their first dance and first kissing there. And that's when it showed up back with his gun, and they try to shoot Rufus, but Rufus and Matteo, they managed to escape from that club, and Matteo had idea that they can went to his apartment, and rest of the day it would be peaceful, calm, and they would be together. And here's already 10 p.m. so it's left 2 hours until end of the day, and that's when Matteo decided to make some tea for him and Rufus, and when he is turned on the stove, it was exploded and he was died. So Rufus went with Matteo to the hospital, and he went to the Matteo's father to say how his son was brave, even if his father wouldn't know about this because he still was in the coma. Rufus, he decided that he doesn't want to spend his last hours in the hospital, and he decided just walk to Altea Park, and it's open end in this book, so we're not sure what had happened to him, that he was crossing the road with earpods. Probably it was some accident with other car. And we can suggest that probably it was Victor. Victor is ex-boyfriend of the Delilah, and Delilah at the end of the day, she was sit in the cafe in the park Altea, and she was called to Victor that to be clear that it wasn't prank, and Victor said that it wasn't prank, that he is coming to see Delilah. Probably it was him who is crushed to the Rufus, and that's end of the book. Maybe first what we can think it's how it would be looks like our last day. Probably most of you would like to spend it with your relatives or people who you love, right? I was enjoyed to reading about that it's so many activities for the daycares exist in this world, that first it's this visual, but we actually had the same, where you put some goggles and afterwards you can do something. Another one that was interesting with travel arena, that they can visit any country, any spot in the earth what they wanted, And of course it's this club, right, where they went, and seems that they actually had such a good day. And again, what it was stop you to have this good day before, right? Like enjoy day, like at least like on the weekends, right? What is stopping you? For what you need to wait last day in your life to enjoy life. If you have something what you want to do, then I think better do now, because we don't have this cost, and last day can be for us any day. I also like that idea that it was everything free for the daycares, and also when they went to the restaurant usually didn't take any money from the daycares, right, because it's kind of their last meal. So I in some way I was happy to read that it was daycares friendly world there, and the government was think through all the stuff. And again, for me wasn't so much enough details of that world, but also I was read the measure book, and it was much more clear picture gave to me, even if it's like totally different worlds and totally different authors, but in some ways became much more clear. I like to read also about app Last Friend, right, that nobody have to alone to be in the last day. Nobody is supposed to die alone because of that terrible death, and even if it's happened that you lonely in this world, you can find last friend and have fun at least with your last day. So that's like pretty good. Another what it was for me kind of strange when I was reading that Mateo Rufus was so careful about everything, and I just think that's not the day when you need to be careful because you anyway will die. It's no matter like are you careful or no, it's anyway something happen. Okay, maybe you would live a few more hours, but again, that's the day when you can do whatever you want. Was in the book writing about one man who was received also this that he has last day, and he decided to end his life and take some other life also. So he bring bomb to the gym, and there was explosion and some people was died. It's hard to understand, is it destiny or it's just this program that you die and you do some certain actions that like to make it closer, right? Of course some of them could be accident, but some of them no. Man who bring bomb to the gym, again, maybe if he wouldn't be received that call, maybe he wouldn't bring that bomb, right? Like, so who knows what it could be like happened. And in general, I think it doesn't make so much sense about these calls, because when it would be death, then it would be death. You anyway couldn't manage anything, but it would be like much more action, and what to say goodbye to your people who you love, friends, relatives, say that you love each day, and then it would be much easier to live, because still it's not so much clear. Maybe it would be like some mafia or some other people who want you, and especially if they could look for deckers and like just like give them some bombs and they can explore it with other people. I mean, I think it's kind of useless, this program, this company, right? Because I can see more ways how it can be turned bad than good. I think engaging with a last friend could do me some good. Then again, I don't know if it's better to die alone or in the company of someone who not only doesn't mean anything to me, but also probably doesn't care much for you either. You just like need to understand what you want, because it's more like fortune, or you would get some close empathy person who would be next to you, or you would be alone. On my opinion, I think I would be rather with somebody. It's anyway much more fun than lonely. So yeah, I don't know, that's hard to answer. I think like it's like everybody has their opinion, but for Mateo, who's saying it, was do right choice. I like Rufus with his idea of funeral. It's make for me a lot of sense, right, of the last day, because if it's your last day, at least you can see how it would be, who will come, or who would say something about you. I like this idea about funeral. I think it's cool. In the morning you have your funeral, in the night, if you're still alive, you can go to nightclub and have fun there, right? It was actually strange about nightclubs that they had non-alcoholic beverage, and that's again the question, because it's for Deckers, so who is care, is it alcohol, is it not alcohol? But I think when you drunk, probably you would easier accept your last day, right? I so love this quote. He once told me that stories can make someone immortal as long as someone else is willing to listen. I want him to keep me alive the same way he did my mother. Mateo's father told him, and I think that's true, that person, even when he is died, he still live in our memories and our stories. And if we continue to talk about this person to our children, to our friends, they're still with us and they're still alive. I was like Brit, how they will help a homeless person and how homeless person was happy to get some money for food or something. I think and continue talk about this, and if you make something good to others, you anyway will feel better and you feel that you don't waste this life. Mateo had some struggles to tell Lydia that it would be his last day, because he didn't want to disappoint her and make bad her day. It's another question. If you know that would be your last day, will you tell your close people or no? Because that's probably very hard to tell people who is like care about you, because well, they would be feel bad and you would feel bad, and maybe better don't tell. You may be born into a family, but you walk into friendship. Some you'll discover you should put behind you, others are worth every risk. I think what is often happened with many people, because you never choose your family where you born, but you can choose people with who you walk in the life. Of course, we have feelings to our relatives, to our family, but sometimes it happens that our friends worth much more than our family, and you're not the same blood as with each other, but you have the same world with each other. I think you're lucky and rich man if you have both, and lovely family you was lucky with, and with friends what you choose, and you're lucky with them too. And another what you choose, it's your partner in the life, right? And you create your little heaven in this world of chaos. So that's cool that we have choices. I understood that when you at the age your feelings with someone else who you even haven't known before, it's a much faster development than if it would be peaceful situation, right? How it was happened with Rufus and Amy, his girlfriend, right? They know each other long time, and they've been together and they have feeling to each other, and he was even with her boyfriend, right? And in the morning he was with her boyfriend, at the night he was already kissing and say how much he loves another guy who he knows during 20 hours. I understood that it would be much faster develop their relationship between each other, but still I think it's like too much, and in some way it would be actually interesting to see how it would be if they would be alive, if they would be like still together in 30-40 years, or they would understand that it just happened because they were in the age and any person can see clear about this. So, but for that people who like romantic books, probably that's fine. Thanks to the author that he is again remind how could be dangerous social media, because many people they post their locations in the social media and in general talk so much about their life, and eventually it can be something bad happen. So just be careful with your social media, because I bet you doesn't want to be like Rufus, who is post all the locations where they've been, and eventually back with his gang they meet him and try to shoot him. So be careful with social media. And conclusion of this book, in general it's okay book. It's just my expectation was much higher. I was expected something different what had happened, right? I was thought that it would be much more depression, more emotional, more actions, right? But it was in general pretty smooth everything, so it wasn't so much emotional. Open ending, I don't like that it's good for this book. Open ending, I think it's cool in the books how it's gone with the bind, for example, right? When it's many characters, many histories, and many drama, and it's a lot going on there, like, and you all the time with you emotional, you crying, you suffering, you smiling, and at the end it's open-ended. And that's what is cool, because you know that you never forget this book, right? Here it was for what? You know, better if it would be, for example, Rufus die, everybody die who is supposed to be epilogue. Maybe it would be cool, for example, Mateo's father, he is woke up and he is just like came to the Mateo grave, afterwards to the Rufus grave, and just it would be like more picture what is his feeling, how is everything going on. And after, at the end of the book, he actually said the same, that people wasn't like open ending, but he was like it, so he is wrote it, right? But I was agree with the people that open ending is not for this book. Better if it would be like something happens, that it would be even more better picture how it's happened, everything, right? Delilah, I was like that character, Delilah, girl who's supposed to died as a day, but again, we don't know how she, like for sure she will die some way, but how she is dying, who knows? Is she meet with Victor or no? Like, did she say last her words that she loves him or no? Open ending is more annoying than good to the book. You know, just like you reading and you just was curious how they die, right? And after didn't say how they die, just like what he doesn't have enough imagination or what to continue and make logic ending. Another what I was annoyed a lot, it's about last day, because it's almost in every page. It's I have last day, I have last day, last day, last day, last day, last day. It's like many times. It's like everywhere this last day, last day. I think if erase all last days, this verse from this book, it would be already 200 pages, not 400 but 200, because it's like everywhere this last all days, last day, last day, last day. So too much was about this. I wanted to read more about the emotional, their life, how they manage situations, more about adventures, maybe something like this. So yeah, in general it's like okay book, but if I would have choice, I wouldn't buy this book. Thank you that you watched my video. If you want to support my channel, left your comment, subscribe my channel, and see you on my next video and next book.